Keeping It Safe, a program founded in 2004, engages young people and educates them about the dangers of underage alcohol use. Their centerpiece is a video contest for Montgomery County, Maryland students who create a 30-second PSA that shares underage drinking, education, and prevention messages. Every year, more students and schools participate, making the program more inclusive, vibrant, and far-reaching. When students, educators, and community leaders work together to tackle this public health and safety issue, the possibilities for prevention are multiplied.
So I'm gonna be drugged by some mysterious hand, and it's bad, but I really hope that this will give you an example to follow. Don't do drugs and be careful at parties, because bad things can happen.
I'm Beck. My hand is the hand that drugs.
Hi, I'm Danya, and I'm the one that gave the disco ball for the party. I'm one of the dancers, I guess.
Hi, I'm one of the runners.
Hey, I'm Philip. I'm going to be one of the runners because I can run.
Hi, I'm Frank Most, your host. And I'm director and editor of this Roofies video.
Hi, I'm here with Meg Baker, who's with the Keeping It Safe program. Hi, Meg. Welcome.
Hi, Carrie. Nice to be here.
I have a few questions for you. Can you tell us a little bit about the Keeping It Safe program?
Sure. Keeping It Safe focuses on under 21 alcohol prevention. It is a community coalition. In fact, this group was started, if you can believe it, way back in 1992. It's gone through some different changes and transitions, but the main focus is under 21 alcohol prevention and reducing the effects of under 21 alcohol use.
Sounds like a great program. How did it get started, and what are some of the changes that it has gone through since then?
It got started by a county council member way back, probably before your time, by the name of Gail Ewing and her assistant. And they were quite concerned about the use of alcohol within the young person's life in the school system, things like that. And I discovered along the way that there were a lot of agencies that really weren't sharing information and weren't talking to each other. For example, Police Department, Department of Liquor Control, Health and Human Services, school nurses, things like that. So they put together this working coalition to, first of all, network and share information so that we were all pretty much on the same page. And they developed a real simple message. Under 21 alcohol use is illegal, unhealthy, and unacceptable.
Wow, yeah, that's great. So what are some of the projects that you're working on now? What are some of your goals?
One of the favorite things that we developed, and this was way back in 2003, 2004, something like that, was we were trying to think of a way to engage youngsters in learning about the dangers and risks of using alcohol. And way back before all this digital stuff took hold, we were thinking that they could write articles for their school newspaper.
Sure.
Well, as conversation progressed, it evolved into a video contest, and the video portion of it was VHS. So this was even before the DVD.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the opportunity once again to create a PSA for the Montgomery County Keeping It Safe Coalition. Essentially, every year what they do is they do a PSA contest. It's a 30-second PSA on under 21 alcohol prevention. Okay? This year, as in every year, you've got three choices of things to do. It is either alcohol poisoning, what it is, and what to do, stay fresh and say no to alcohol, and roofies in real life, dangers of under 21 alcohol use. Okay, we've entered this contest pretty much every year that it has been inside, every year that's happened, and we've won, I think, 2 or 3 years, and the honorable mention the other years. Do you guys actually want to enter this contest?
Yeah.
Okay, so then if you want to enter, the next thing you have to do is decide which one of these things you'd want to do. So,
Roofies, anyone?
Roofies. So, roofies. Okay, is that what you're saying? That's what you want to do? Yeah. All right, so then what you're going to do now is pretty much you have to decide, you're going to start putting some thought into what you're going to do. Okay, 30 seconds is not a long time. to get the message across, okay? So I want you guys to start brainstorming about how you want to do this. You good? Yeah.
Do the schools have the studios and the facilities that help the students record these, or do they go somewhere else to record them?
A lot of them do now have it where they didn't in the beginning. Some of them record their material at home. Some go to, say, a parking lot and record their story there. And what we try to do in the beginning when we send out the information is to provide them with a list of local resources, so that if they have a question about something or they need the assistance of somebody, that they can contact that person or organization and learn more.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that the kids have brought back as feedback as part of this program?
I think probably the major one, or there's two major ones, was one, they always knew about drinking and driving, but they didn't realize about some of the other effects. And we give them topics that address alcohol poisoning, or today we were talking about how we could relate date rape and alcohol use together and use the safe words so that when it goes into a school, we're not blaring rape.
Right.
They've learned about how it can influence job applications and scholarships and school applications. And the other thing is that they just didn't realize all the different ramifications. And one of the things we make them do, or require them to do, is to submit a little reflection on what they learned during the process.
Great idea.
It kind of parallels what the public school system requires for student service learning. And part of that requirement is they have to enter reflection thoughts on the form that they fill out. So it just really seemed to make sense to require them to submit it. Now, not everyone does it, but I mean, not everyone who is participating, but a group submits.
Okay. As a group, they submit a reflection.
Which is fine.
Right.
And our definition of a group is 2 or more. And then we have 2 middle school students who are teachers who have incorporated it into their media curriculum. So it's part of their classwork.
Wow.
That they do. So it's
great way to incorporate it in.
It is, yeah. And the adults talk about how the students learn how to come up with a storyline, the editing, whatever, all the different procedures that you guys have to do to get something down to 30 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What a great program.
Yeah.
Rockaway, New York was hit particularly hard by Hurricane Sandy. A local group, Respond Rebuild, has sprung up to help the community get back on its feet. We spoke with several volunteers.
Church community can get back to operating at full speed ahead. So Respond and Rebuild was founded met on past disasters. When Hurricane Sandy hit, we were all at a place in our lives where we were able to come here and help, and we did, and the community has been leading the way for us.
Travel Television spoke with author and travel celebrity Andrew Zimmern from the Travel Channel's Bizarre Foods. He shared how you can enhance your food experiences by traveling and volunteering.
One of the things that I sort of fell into by accident was the volunteer tourism and charitable tourism models. I'm by nature a very selfish person, but over the course of my lifetime, I have found that when I give back, not only do I feel better, not only am I the best version of myself that I can be, which I think is part of the transformative power that travel has. I'm not sure anything else can really do that to you. When you go to a foreign country and you experience something new, behave in a different way, react in a different way than you typically do, and travel puts you in a position to do that, I think the potential for human growth is astronomical. I always tell people that I learn more when I'm, walking in a little village or spending time with a family or sitting in a jungle market shopping than I do in a museum. And it's not because I'm anti-museum. It's just that I find that the real spice of life is in the current culture that's going on. Then I can look in the rearview mirror and study the country's history, and it doesn't work for me vice versa. I've spent a lot of time in a lot of hotspots in the world where, natural calamity and disaster has struck. Everything from tsunami to cultural revolution to political revolution to armed revolution. And there are a lot of agencies in the world that go out and do good works. I mean, we're blessed to be part of a societal movement and change that believes in doing good works. So it's the agencies around the world that I applaud the most, are the small ones like Microaid, that toil mostly in anonymity, that to me sometimes have the most lasting impact on a person, a family, or a village, on a community. Volunteer tourism, I think, is only going to get bigger and bigger. It started with the popularity that some of those, build a house trips. There's a dozen companies now that are doing that. I think people want to make a difference in the world, and I think as the boomers age up, and even the who are the millennials, I believe, is the 19 to 25s that we're most concerned with now. I think it's those millennials that are actually spurring the most change. They're growing up firmly planted in the internet age, and I think that they see digital communication, access, and the flatness of our planet. They see it in a very unique way. I think that's the generation that's going to save our planet for the better.
get curious and curiouser on the web pages of Atlas Obscura. The site, atlasobscura.com, features a database of obscure, often odd travel destinations around the world. The site self-describes as a definitive guidebook and friendly tour guide to the world's most wondrous places, with travel tips, articles, strange facts, and unique events. It is a site for those who believe in discovery. You can search by type of attraction and/or destination, with many venues falling into a variety of often quirky categories. For instance, George Washington's bathtub, the only national monument to presidential bathing, can be found by searching West Virginia. It's in Berkeley Springs. Or in the categories of watery wonders and peculiar fountains, as well as natural wonders. Heading to Fresno, California? The Forestier Underground Gardens is an underground mansion with fruit-bearing trees and grapes growing beneath the surface of Central California. Find this site under Extraordinary Flora, Curious Caves, Strange Science, or Catacombs, Crypts, and Cemeteries. Some of the listings are more familiar than others, and all are pinpointed on maps and include photographs and descriptions. Try clicking on Random Place and find yourself almost anywhere around the globe. It is a webpage for armchair travelers as well as seasoned globetrotters.
We're located here on Staten Island doing rebuilding and gutting projects. We've been here since right after the storm. Initially our goal was gutting, taking out all mold infested items out of the house, and just that's what Nechama's used to, but now we're branching out, we're trying new things. We're starting up the rebuild process. And we hope to be here for a good long time from here on out. Doing right now, our goal is help as many families as we can. Just get back to like a sense of normalcy. Get back to like their life by doing the finishing work with like the drywall and insulation and things like that. Just getting them set up so they can basically get back on their feet, return to their lives. Today we're about 1,000 feet from the shoreline. Working on a rebuild project, installing insulation and drywall. We're working with a local family who has survived the Hurricane Sandy.
I'm Eileen Pepple, and I'm a disaster survivor from Hurricane Sandy. The smell was what really overwhelmed me. Everything on the whole first floor was destroyed, turned upside down.
Behind me I have a team of 9 individuals from AmeriCorps NCCC. They flew out all the way from California to come out to work with us and to do some good work. They've been out here for I believe about a month or so, and but we've had them for the last week and a half, and we've been having them doing gutting jobs and also working on the rebuild of this home here. For me personally, what impacts me the most is the relationships you build with the homeowners. It's very exhausting work, but it's so rewarding when you have that connection with the homeowner. So I say that's, for me at least, that's the most powerful thing I've experienced, is just that relationship you build.
These haunting portraits are the faces of the dead. They are only some of the over 14,000 people that the Khmer Rouge imprisoned, photographed, interrogated, and killed at the S-21 prison camp here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia.
Now imagine this contrast. Smiling faces of teenage boys and girls, because this was their high school. They would come here to learn. They'd be educated in those classrooms. They would take breaks out here in the courtyard, maybe throw a ball, just sit back and relax and take a study break. But all of that changed come 1975.
It was then that the Khmer Rouge surrounded the school with electrified barbed wire and converted the classrooms into tiny prisons and interrogation rooms.
one of the ways they would conduct their torture is through common things that you would see high schoolers playing on. For instance, this frame right here had ropes that were hanging. And during the high school days, the kids would climb the ropes and get exercise. Well, the Khmer Rouge had a very different idea of exercise. In fact, they would take the prisoners with their arms tied behind their backs, and they would tie the rope to their arms, literally to their wrists right here. They would then hoist them up this way. You can just imagine the pain. The prisoner would go upside down, and they would ultimately lose consciousness unless they confessed. Once they lost consciousness, they would lower them down into this vat right here, filled with filthy, sewage-strewn water to wake them back up. And then the process would begin once again.
When they weren't being tortured, prisoners were kept shackled to beds in these rooms. You can see the photos with their anguished faces on the walls as you tour the museum. I can't say this museum is a pleasant one to visit, but it will be life-changing for anyone who takes the time.
Hi, I'm Carrie Keenan with Travel Television. Today I'm here with Dave Skoblar with Project I95. Welcome, Dave.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So your organization has worked with the 3 major weather disasters in the U.S. What sort of work have you done with those areas?
Well, there's a lot of things that need to get done and after a major natural disaster. One is organization, and working with who's on the ground right there from the start, whether that be FEMA, whether that be the city or town, agencies who are already in place, and then kind of working within that framework and helping where the gaps are. Usually that comes in with volunteers from around the country and kind of working on projects that kind of slip through the cracks.
The 3 areas that you have worked with have been?
Well, we started actually in New Orleans, and as soon as we started to kind of get our feet wet and start really kind of putting things together, well then Tuscaloosa happened, and then Joplin, which is actually a really horrible situation that happened there 2 years ago, or close to 2 years. And then now we have, we're dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. So we have a full plate and a lot of help that needs to go around.
So I know you've done a lot of work with Joplin, and you have Joplin House. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Joplin House was something that we thought of over the past couple of years, especially working with New Orleans in years past. And we wanted to have a fully sustainable volunteer model for housing in any major disaster area, and have everything set up for them. So literally all they have to do is get there, and from then on they have a work site, they have a place to stay, food available if necessary. So there's a lot of things that you don't want to have to worry about when doing this. And we try to take care of all that for them and give them good, safe, quality work when they get there.
If you're interested in contacting the organization, you can find them at project195.org. This is Carrie Keenan with Travel Television.